Yes, I'm sure I want to start the stream. Oh my goodness, Lloyd, you forgot to turn on your. Oh no, never mind. The battery ran out. I forgot.
I could put it on, but it gets just with all the lights in the background, it seems like it's a little bit too much.
I love the twinkly lights. I want twinkly lights for this room, but I just don't think it would work with how bright my room is. I don't
You know
think that
what?
they would show up.
Because of the bokeh for your background, it actually would probably look okay. It
Yeah,
would
you
just give
think so?
enough. It would give enough like texture blinking.
Now, could they get here in order to really take advantage before Christmas?
That's the $1 million question. I ordered these ones, and it took 3 weeks to come from, or no, it took 2 weeks to come from Walmart, and they shipped local. Like it shipped from Winnipeg to me, and it took 2 weeks.
And you know, another thing about those lights is when you're talking, sometimes I'm like, are those like hearing his voice and reacting to it? I can't tell. I'm not sure, but they're just regular old twinkly lights, right?
Just regular old twinkly lights with 8 different patterns, and you hit a button on top to cycle through the ones you want to get to.
There we go. Speaking of cycling through things, hello everybody. It's nice to see you. I'm going to quickly cycle through all of the people that became members since the last time that we did a stream or a show or something like that. So, like, as of like 2 days ago, we had a bunch more people become members. We had Cedric Crenshaw, Byron, JB, Roby, Chaz, Avery. Avery Krause is at Stadia Source. Make sure you check out his stuff. Jay, Burger Bear, Daniel, Daryl Smock Jr., 4X Fire, Kevin Smith, not that Kevin Smith, and Mike D. Thank you guys very much for the support. Some of those are new subs, or not subs, new members. Some of those are old members, but thank you everybody for supporting the show. Lloyd and I really do appreciate it.
Yes, we do. We do. Do we have time for some Stadia Cats before we get into the show?
Speaking of Stadia Cats, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you members are aware. Why don't you go ahead and tell them while I open up my recording software?
We have this emote now in chat, so you can have your very own Stadia Cats if you sub to the channel.
Membership.
It's there, or yeah, sorry, if you a member, if you join.
There you go. Yeah, I was like, what is the right word?
I don't know what to say on YouTube. It's odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the Stadia Cats. David worked his magic and threw together a Stadia Cats emoticon for us, and he's a superstar.
Yeah, David Rodriguez. He did this. He's also the one that did those ones, the cartoon versions of Lloyd and I. Oh wait, did I upload the nests to here? I think I only
No,
did
you
it
have
on
not.
Discord. I don't think I got around to it. Yeah, we're limited on how many emotes we can post on YouTube until membership goes up. So I probably can't do those now. But he also did these cool ones where he put like my head in a bird nest and Lloyd's head in a bird nest, which is really awesome.
Really funny.
Are you ready to start recording the show?
Let's do a quick Stadia Cats update.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
my
yeah, sorry.
cats, we've had them both for about 6 months now, and they are slowly becoming friends. So they'll lay together for a bit, and then they fight, and then they go elsewhere. Like they bite each other, they chase each other, normal cat stuff. But yesterday, Tank did something weird. On one of our big chairs in the living room, Juno was laying down having a nap, and he jumps up and he's kind of smelling her and gave her a couple licks. And then he turned around and he stood on her back so she couldn't go anywhere, and was just like standing on top of her with his front paws, and then was cleaning her head and stuff. I guess he tried to do that before and she would run away. So he was like physically on top of her saying, no, this is happening. I'm going to clean you. You clean me all the time. I'm going to clean you. And he like stood on top of her, cleaned her, and then came and laid in front of her. And then she cleaned him a little bit. It was like vigorous cleaning from Tank. It was pretty interesting.
They're best friends.
They're good friends now. They like being around each other. It didn't take long at all. I had a pretty good feeling that they would never be friends based on how things kind of started, and I'm super glad that I was wrong, because they're best of friends now.
There you go. All right. Oh, Cloud Gamer just became a supporter as well. Thank you very much, Cloud Gamer 201. We appreciate it. All right,
We do.
let's hit record on this thing, and we're going to talk about all of the Stadia news that you guys can use. Let's get started. Welcome back to Stadiacast. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. I couldn't remember where to point. Go ahead, Lloyd. What's up, man?
Not much. This is episode 88. So are we going to go back to the future? Is that do we have to go back, Marty?
when no, you know what? I'm not going to say the quote. When this baby hits 88 episodes. But yeah, it's Stadiacast. Go ahead.
Is it going to generate 1.21 gigawatts?
What was I thinking?
That's all I can do.
I love that. I love that movie. The
Such a
Back
good
to the
movie.
Future. You know what? I know a lot of people only like the first one. I like all three. I really like all three. Yes, I think the second one is the weakest, but I still really like all three of those movies. They're very fun movies. And if you don't subscribe, I don't remember what his channel is, but if you don't subscribe to Tom Wilson on YouTube, you should. He's really cool. He's a really nice guy. He's the guy that plays Biff. And it's so weird hearing him not be Biff, because he's always been Biff to me. But anyway, check out his stuff. Before we get started, speaking of YouTube, before we get started, we do record the show live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can find that over at our YouTube channel, nerdnest.tv. And we figure we should probably talk about this very, very quickly. We're not going to take up very much time. There was a bunch of people who were confused about the change to our YouTube channel. Some people were worried that we were changing the name of the show. We are not changing the name of the show. The show is still Stadiacast and will remain Stadiacast in perpetuity.
Yep, exactly.
What are you doing? My wife just brought in Tylenol because I have a headache and she's shaking the bottle like a maniac. I'm podcasting, lady. Yeah, get out of here.
Get on with your little show.
Thank you. Get on with my little show, she says.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, I don't remember what the hell I was saying. Lloyd, can you take over so I can take these pills?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people that were concerned that we were changing the name of the show, and it's like, well, how are people going to find out a show about Stadia if you don't call it Stadiacast anymore? It's going to be confusing. No one will be able to find it on their podcatchers. Stadiacast is maintaining the name, so the name's not changing, just the container that held it is changing. So we're putting Stadiacast into a different box, basically, is what it is. But then that allows us to bring other podcasts, other videos, other content to the channel. So youtube.com/nerdnest or nerdnest.tv is where you can find all of our content. Stadiacast is one of those pieces of content, and it's going to live here forever. And we're going to continue to do the recording Sunday mornings. That's not changing. But the channel that holds it is changing names. So hopefully that is clear as mud for people out there. But we'll get used to it after a couple weeks, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of, YouTube and how people can support, if you want to directly support the show, you can use the super chat feature if you're here with us live in order to make sure that we see your message. We respond to each and every super chat at the end of the show. And if you're not here with us live, you can use the join button to support. You can use the applaud button to support, or you can just click on any of the other YouTube buttons. They all really, really help. All right. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. I feel like today is going to be a very heavy conversation in terms of we're going to be talking a lot about what we've played, and it will be a lot less about necessarily news, because we've got a lot of games that came out and that we have access to. And even though there was big news, it was really all about the games. So let's start off with what have we been playing. Lloyd, what have you been playing, sir?
Okay, so I got to ask you a quick question, Bill.
Yeah.
How many times in the last month have I said this game is my game of the year, and it's been a different game?
I'm not sure.
October, November, December are insane in 2020, and I'm playing a game right now which may be one of my favorite games of the year, if not my most favorite game of the year, which is on top of Valhalla, which was already my favorite game of the year, and that is Immortals: Phoenix Rising. expected to like this game. I expected to like the change to the standard Ubisoft's like menu that they have. So you look and it's appetizers. It's okay, go to all the high spots and scope things out. Then you have your main courses, which are doing your story missions, and you have all the dessert, which is all the other finding things. It has that. It has all the components that are on the main Ubisoft menu, but then it adds a bunch of things and it changes it up. So it's very much Breath of the Wild cross with Assassin's Creed. But instead of having all these high points everywhere that you have to go to scope out, there's one in every part of the world, which unlocks that segment of the world from having clouds on it, which then shows you all the different missions and things that are there. There's a way that you can scan and just look and highlight things on your map. And it very much seems like you could mainline this game. You can just do the main story missions at any time, or you can do a bunch of the additional content if you want to pump yourself up, instead of Ubisoft locking progression to doing all these side quests in addition to the main quest. It's been such a breath of fresh air playing it. I love the worlds. I love the voice actors. I love the narration. It's just been a joy to play. I'm gonna pull up my Stadia stats. I think I've been playing for about 6-7 hours so far. And from what I've seen online, you can kind of mainline the main story and beat it in like 30 hours if you want, or you can do all the content and beat it in like 60 some odd hours. So it's a beefy game if you want it. It's a more focused game if you want to play it that way. And I mean, it's essentially Assassin's Creed, so I didn't expect it to feel as fresh as it does. But man, I'm loving it. I just looked at my settings or my time play on my profile, and it's been almost 12 hours. So I've played way more than I thought I have. Absolutely 100% love Immortals Fenyx Rising. What an amazing way to cap off a really strong 2020 for Ubisoft. I just wish Watch Dogs was out in like February, and then Valhalla was out in June, and then this was out now. Give us a little bit of breathing room on these games. But man, the game is so damn good.
So I mean, we've got Cyberpunk 2077 coming out like this week.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? Are you like? Did you finish Valhalla?
No, I haven't. I haven't finished Watch Dogs Legion. I'm very close to the end. I haven't finished Valhalla. I'm about halfway through the main story content. I haven't finished Immortals, and then Cyberpunk's coming out. There's going to be 4 60, 70, 80, 100-hour games, and they're all being like, one's taken off the desk and just put on the shelf. And then the next one comes out and you unwrap the new one, and it's all bright and shiny and awesome. And then you play with it for a bit, and it's like, okay, I got to put that to the side and unwrap the next big gift that's coming in. The last 3 months of 2020 are just insane for gaming. But what my hope is to do is I get a week off at Christmas time, because the university I work at shuts down completely. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to finish Legion. I'm going to finish, or try to finish, Valhalla. I want to finish Immortals Fenyx Rising, and then I want to play through some more Cyberpunk. So I have video games on the menu coming up at the end of this year.
And you're 100% right. With all of these games that have come in recent days, I feel like for the single player games, I've barely been able to touch them. I haven't had any time to play these games because I get so sucked into the one more match multiplayer style game, which brings me to the game that I've been playing the most this week. Like since Thursday. Oh, that's right, because you've been playing Immortals Fenyx Rising 12 hours since Thursday, Lloyd.
Yeah, right?
Oh my god, dude.
I was up late last night. I was one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to play to about midnight, and then you're making your way through doing a bunch of challenges. You look at the time, and it's like, I have to be up in 5 hours. All right. Apparently I'm 18 and I don't need sleep, which is very far from the truth.
That's right. So I've been playing a whole bunch of Outcasters. Outcasters is so fantastic. I did a live stream of Outcasters on Thursday, and I played completely with controller. I tried a little tiny bit with the mouse and keyboard because one of the devs, excuse me, one of the devs from Splash Damage, they were like they were watching the stream and they were like, try keyboard and mouse. They ended up playing with me for a bit. Clearly, they are correct. The keyboard and mouse is the way to go because when I was playing with them, they were just destroying everybody. But I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get my head around it. I was struggling really, really badly with how do I do this? And that's because I wasn't holding down the fire button. So basically, and so I ended up trying it again after the live stream was over, and it works really, really well. Keyboard and mouse is the way to go with Outcasters. What you do is you click on a spot, and then you just kind of drag around your path, and it draws the path for you, so you can kind of like hide behind something and like drag around and wait for somebody to like come around a corner and just ping them real good. Of course, they can also curve their, I guess, bullets around the corner and hit you. But the games happen very quickly. They're over fast. They're varied. Like they have the bank vault mode where you have to collect coins. They have the every man for himself, or I guess every caster for themselves. I guess they're called
Right.
casters. Every caster for themselves, where it's a free for all, and then they have like the team based modes, and they also have the oh yeah, the Evercaster for themselves has the battle royale closing ring kind of thing from like Fortnite and PUBG and all of those games, but Outcasters is incredibly fun and addictive. And my only criticism for the game is their monetization model.
Right.
This game should be a free to play game where you play that game and then you buy cosmetic things to make your caster look different. Now, when Pac-Man Battle Royale first came out, wait a second. Pac-Man Battle Royale, is that game
20.
free? Oh no, I
No,
was thinking
20,
Bomberman. Sorry,
25. Yeah,
Bomberman.
Bomberman.
When Bomberman first came out, that was free for pro,
Mm-hmm.
and it was X dollars. I can't remember what.
9.99 I think to buy the founders pack, but that came months after release.
Right. But now it's completely free, and I hope, fingers crossed, that that's what happens with Outcasters, because Outcasters could be absolutely huge as a game. All it needs is lots and lots and lots of people to play it. And I think asking people to pay $20, while it's definitely worth it, I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people will just say, multiplayer games ought to be free. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. And honestly, I think that this would do so much better if it were free and supported by microtransactions, which I know a
Yeah.
lot of people hate microtransactions, but they don't affect gameplay, and that's what's important. I love this game. I've played so many matches of it. It's really good. Have you played it all, Lloyd?
I was trying to count the number of pro games that we have access to now. It's just ridiculous. I was looking at the list.
Oh, we'll talk
I've
about
played
that in a little bit. In a little bit.
I've played a little bit, and I think what they're trying to do with Outcasters is they want to kind of tune things a little bit, and they're doing kind of what Stadia did, where they're kind of gatekeeping a little bit. It's like, well, you can only play Stadia if you buy the Premiere or the Founders Pack. It's not in beta, but the only way you can get in is if you do this. And then a couple weeks after launch, it's like you can give your friend code to people. I think what they want to do is kind of tune the game a little bit, see how people are playing it, and then I fully expect this to be a free base game with no cosmetics in it other than what you unlock through gameplay, and then they're going to sell packs. I don't like the fact that they have outfit packs as separate money purchases in the store. I'd prefer to see some sort of in-game store where you can unlock just like the hat if you want, like the snowman hat or something for 300 Outcasters bucks that is inside the game. But that could always come down the road. I do think that Stadia Games and Entertainment has a hit on their hands here. To me, this seems way more competitive than Fall Guys, and Fall Guys
Mm-hmm.
took off for a while. But Fall Guys seemed very samey. Like when you're watching streamers play it, it seems like every game was kind of the same. This, because you're actually shooting at each other and there's the curving of the bullets, it seems like every match that I've seen kind of plays out completely differently. So if they tune this properly, if they get maps out constantly to keep it interesting, if they keep coming out with new game modes, and if they give it out for free eventually, I think this could be one of the next big casted games where you have streamers with 20-30,000 people watching them play this game, because it has that shooting mechanic that brings a lot of the kind of pro esports players into it, because they want to have some sort of they want to have some strategy and challenge in their gameplay. And I do think Outcasters can do it for them. I've played only a handful of matches, so I'm not very good at anything in the game yet. But it's one of those games that I think I'm going to be coming back to time and time again, because it does have that one more game kind of addiction and element to it.
It absolutely does, and like I said, the matches are short. I will say that I could play 1,000 matches, and I probably will never get any better at the game because I'm just bad at games. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. This feels like a game that can have an incredibly high skill ceiling. Like really, really high skill ceiling. This is one of those games that I think that you can watch people play. Like when I watch my son play Fortnite and he builds that thing where it's like the floor and then the wall and then the ramp in like, I don't know, less than a second or something. It's just like an instantaneous thing. Like, I don't understand how that works. There's going to be people who are playing Outcasters like that. There probably already are. And the one thing that I was talking to whoever it was from Splash Damage, and I said, well, I hope that you guys are going to have some kind of skill-based matchmaking system. And he said, well, we'll see what happens down the road. We don't have that yet. But I don't want to get matched up against, people like Moobs, who was the guy from Splash Damage who had like 6 kills or something, and I had like 3 hits on somebody and 1 kill, and he had like 6 kills. I don't want to be in a match with him because I can't keep up, and it's like that can be frustrating. And right now is the perfect time to play Outcasters because almost everybody is at the skill floor right now. We're still learning how it goes. It's kind of like at the beginning when like Tetris 99 came out. Like everybody knew how to play Tetris, and there were of course a few people that were really good, but most people were just like they were okay. And I felt like I could do okay back then. If I loaded up today, I just get smacked real bad because people just keep getting better and my skill level kind of stays the same. But Outcasters is absolutely a winner. That game is fantastic and I cannot wait to play more. In fact, after we're done with the show, I'm going to do some Outcasters streaming right here on the channel.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm really, really impressed by Outcasters. I expected to like it, but I didn't expect to like it this much. It has the Twitch mechanics that you need for something that's competitive. But it reminds me a lot of Splatoon, where you can be on a team of 4 people in Splatoon. One person could just be painting by their base, having a good old time, just doing their own thing. But you could have the really good players that are out hunting people down and getting eliminations that way. It very much feels like one of those games where a team of 4 could have complete newbies and complete masters, and it doesn't really ruin the experience for either of them because there's a lot of stuff to do in each match. So good on them for coming out with a game that is so balanced at launch. But yeah, I do think like Splash Damage and Stadia Games Entertainment have a big hit on their hands here. But they have to get it out in front of the big esports players and see if they want to join in, because I think this could be a nice a nice additional game for people to have in their repertoire. So you have the Fortnite, which is what they get super sweaty playing the super competitive Fortnite. They have Fall Guys on the other side, or Among Us on the other side, which is just total chill hanging out. And then you could have Outcasters, which is kind of right in the middle there. I hope this game takes off, because I do feel that it really deserves that.
I also want to say their implementation, and I guess we can talk about this right now. Crowd play and crowd choice now has, like, well, crowd play always had a UI element built in, but crowd choice now has a UI element built in on YouTube, so much better than the spamming 1 2 3 4 that we saw before. It worked really, really well. There's buttons that pop up. You could just click them. I really like how they give you the ability to say, all right, so you have different abilities in Outcasters. You can have like the spring ability, which is your jump. You can have a sprint ability, one that has a giant like claw from like Toy Story come and grab somebody and take them away and move them to some other place on the map. They have another one that's like a vortex, and another one that pushes projectiles and enemies away.
Yeah.
And the way that crowd choice works is at the beginning of the match, the people who are watching get to vote on whether or not, like, which ability you get to use, which is really, really cool. And then it also supports crowd play. Of course, crowd play is in beta, and so not every YouTuber has access to it. Google, I'm just saying, it would be nice, because we like to do that stuff. But I've seen people who have access to it using crowd play, and it is so awesome being able to have like this queue system, and the streamer doesn't have to do anything. And that can be another thing that can really push people towards Stadia, because the games are so easy for the streamer to stream, especially these multiplayer one more match things. These are the perfect kind of games for streaming, by the way. There's no story. There's nothing to get spoiled on. You can kind of turn down the music if you want and put on your own music in the background. It's the perfect streaming game. And crowd play allows you to play with your audience. And so as that becomes more and more prevalent, I think that the ability for these kind of games to take off on Stadia is going to happen, especially like the free games like Bomberman. I saw a bunch of Bomberman streams this weekend, and people were using crowd play, and it was working really well. Just, not us. What else have you been playing this week, Lloyd?
It's been a little all over the place. Immortals being the biggest one that I've played. I played a little bit of Fogs, just very like 5 minutes just to check it out. I'm gonna plan a first look of that, and I'm thinking maybe even doing a first look with my daughter,
Cool.
so she could be here beside me to do it, because it's a game that you can play with one controller, where each of you holds a joystick.
What?
And each of you handles the one of the buttons. So you can do it with two controllers, but you can do it with one controller, which is going to be ridiculously confusing. So she would be on this side, I would be on this side, and we're gonna have to play. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna see if I can get that together today, because it is a game that I think part of the fun of Fogs is just how hard it controls. It's like Octodad, where the game is funny because the controls are hard. This isn't that kind of control, but each stick controls one of the ends of the dog. So so you need to know whether you're the red guy, the red choker or collar, and then the other person is the blue collar, and you have to get through the game that way. So I'm gonna see if my daughter's up to doing a first look and maybe get that recorded today and put up, because I think it's a game that people will enjoy if they have couch co-op people that they want to play with.
Yeah, I told my wife about it, and I said I want to play. I want us to try this game, because it's very reminiscent of Snipper Clips, where you have to work together in order to solve problems. And so we had a blast playing Snipper Clips. I think we'll have a lot of fun playing Fogs. I just need to tear myself away from Outcasters in order to do it, because I just keep getting pulled back. But Did you have another thing you wanted to say before I talk
No,
about Chronos?
no, no. I think that's it. That's pretty much the only other Stadia game that I've been playing is that, and there's about 18 other games that I want to be playing, but Immortals is in the way right now.
It is. So I've been playing a little bit of Chronos. I received a review copy for it. I didn't really know anything about it except that it looked cool. Like I saw a YouTube video and I was like, oh, okay, this is very interesting. And it was like the trailer, not somebody else playing, which was great because I went into it completely dark. So I loaded the game up and started playing, and like at the very beginning, they show you this kind of a very long cutscene of like this old woman, and
Mhm.
she's standing in front of a fire and she's lighting these incense. She's telling you this story of dragons and stuff. And then I go to make my character, and my character has a sword and a shield, and I get to choose: do I want to have a sword or do I want to have an axe? And I was like, all right, that's cool. It's some kind of fantasy thing. And then I get into the game, and like I start walking into this cave, and then there's like these metal steps and some electric lighting, and I was like, what in the hell is going on? And I'm walking around, and then there's like this computer from the 1960s, and I walk up to it, and I'm using it kind of like you do in like the Fallout series. And as I go through and try and piece this together, I turn on this stone, and then I touch the stone, and I'm transported to like this medieval world, and I'm like, I have no idea what's happening in this game. And I'm very, very much enjoying it. I think the graphics are fantastic. The combat is kind of Dark Souls like, but
Yeah.
there's also like some puzzle elements to it. This is a very, very cool game, and if you want to know more about Chronos Before the Ashes, check out my first look at it here on the channel, because this game is very interesting. I love the world that they are building, that kind of has that Assassin's Creed thing going on almost, where you've got this thing that's in the future and then this other world that you're interacting with at the same time. And I don't know yet if you start to ping pong back and forth between those or not, or if
Right.
just the beginning was a way for me to get into this world. And then after I posted the first look, a bunch of comments were like, oh, I didn't realize that this was related to some other game named Revenant or something. But then they
Yeah.
saw the stones and they were like, oh, this is like a sequel or a prequel, or, well, we really
Yeah.
don't know what the hell it is, but it's really cool.
Yeah, the game Chronos was originally a launch title for the Oculus Rift when it launched. So this game came out in 2016 as a VR title,
Oh,
and then the developers have taken the time to make it seem less of a VR title. So it was always like a third person VR title,
it,
that you'd have kind of the scenes, and you'd be in the world with your helmet, and you can kind of look around. They've changed it up really well, because it doesn't feel, because I've played other VR conversions and they're sloppy sometimes. This one doesn't feel that way at all. It seems like it's a very competent game outside of VR, which is a great thing to see.
yeah, I would never have assumed that it's a VR title. Like, what was the firefighter game that Ember?
Ember,
I
yeah.
I would assume, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I would assume that game started out as a VR game, and then they decided to make it not a VR game later.
Yeah.
I would never have suspected that about this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I think we asked the Ember devs about that when we did our interview, and they're like, nope, it always was planned this way, and this is the way it looks. But yeah, it does feel very much like a job simulator kind of graphics. This one definitely doesn't feel that way, but yeah, it started as a VR title. But yeah, it's out on pretty much every platform, and people love it because it is the prequel to Revenant. What is it, Before the Ashes or something? I think
Well,
that's I
this
think
one's
it's
called
Revenant.
Before the Ashes.
Oh, okay, then it's Revenant After the Ashes or something, or From the
Something.
Ashes. From the Ashes, I think, is what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm interested in checking this one out down the road, but yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of time for me to get through my backlog before I can start jumping on other games.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this game's really good, but it's not. It doesn't have that. All right, one more match kind of appeal. Another game
Right.
that I played this week is Hitman 2. Sort of.
Nice.
I didn't really play Hitman 2. Hitman. So the way that IOI Interactive did their launcher for Hitman 2, there's a tutorial, and I was like, oh, I'll do the tutorial for the first look. I've never played a Hitman game before. The
Hmm.
tutorial for the first look is from Hitman 1. So
Right.
my first look at Hitman 2 was actually me playing Hitman 1, and I didn't know it until after the fact. So if you go and you watch the first look video on the YouTube channel, that's why it says, like, in the video, I spent the extra time editing to have Hitman 2 fly across the screen or whatever. And but I changed the title of the thing, and I put a comment there saying that it's not Hitman 2. I am very pleasantly surprised by this game. I never played a Hitman game before, and this doesn't feel like a stealth game. It feels like a puzzle game, and I
Yeah.
very, very much enjoyed it. Like you
Yeah.
said, Lloyd, we've got so many fantastic games to play. I don't know what we're going to do. Let's move
Yeah.
on. Let's talk about the new releases that have come out on Stadia recently. I'm loading it up on the Stadia store right now. It's just taking a second to load. So we've got El Hijo, A Wild West Tale, Submerged, which we'll talk about when we get to the news section, Fogs, which you already mentioned, Outcasters, Immortals, Secret Neighbor, Into the Breach, and for some reason I can't. Oh, now we can scroll. It's so the I gotta get rid of some friends on here. Secret Neighbor, Into the Breach, Everspace, Monster Jam, Chronos, Outward, Star Wars, Watch Dogs, Ghost Recon. Like, there's so many recent
Hmm.
releases on Stadia. I don't even know. Like, I feel like a lot of these games are suffering from people not checking them out, not because they're not awesome, but because people are just too busy playing other stuff. And then we have upcoming games. We've got Valkyria Chronicles 4 on December 8th,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about in a little bit. We've got Unto the End the next day on December 9th, and then nobody's going to be playing anything else because Cyberpunk 2077 is on December 10th. It's
Yeah.
impossible to be a gamer right now.
It's like you're at a buffet dinner at a friend's house, and all of your favorite foods are on the table, and it's like, I only have so much room on my plate, but I want pizza, and I want lasagna, and I
Mm-hmm.
want salad, and I want breadsticks, and I
Salad.
want I want, yeah, I like salad. I want all these fun things on my plate, but it can only hold so much. That is where we are right now with Stadia. And I remember for months doing the show, and it's like, Stadia has no content would be the comment in YouTube chats and messages on videos and things. Yeah, there's literally no way that one person can play all the Stadia games anymore. There's just too much coming out, which is a very good thing to have on a platform that you love. That
Mm-hmm.
there's more games on it than you can play, because that means that developers are behind the platform and are supporting it, which is a very, very good thing. So yeah.
Granite in chat is saying rip all Stadia games December 10th except for Cyberpunk, because people have been waiting for that
Yeah.
game for a very long time. And
Cedric in chat room says that's why you get a second plate. That's what I gotta do. I gotta play two games at once, Cedric. I gotta find some way to set that up.
yeah. All right. So let's talk about the news. Stadia had an event this week. They had two um hosts, and I have forgotten who they are. I didn't write that part down.
Austin Creed and Katie. Ooh, I'm blanking on Katie's last name. I remember Austin Creed's because he's a wrestler, and I've been watching wrestling with my kids for a very long time, and he's a very popular wrestler.
So, what was your reaction to the event? How did you think that they? We'll put away all of the things that
Katie
to talk
Wilson.
about.
There you go.
Katie Wilson.
Katie
Thank
Wilson.
you, chat.
Thanks, Sammy on Stadia.
What did you
Yeah,
think?
I thought it was really good. I love the fact that it wasn't pre-recorded, because Austin was flubbing his lines at some point, and it all stayed in there. So this was an actual live stream. It wasn't an overproduced video that they released after the fact. And at one point when they're playing Dead by Daylight, Katie could not find anyone, and it just showed this is just real people streaming games. It's not an overly prepared, polished to a super sheen video that is put out by marketing. It was actual gamers playing actual video games, and it was probably the best presentation that YouTube has done for Stadia, because it really just showed people playing, people having fun. And Austin Creed needs to come back to do more videos, because he was a perfect fit. He has the charisma, and he has the gamer cred as well. I think that did a lot to change some people's tune on Stadia as a platform.
I think another thing that really helped changing people's tunes was the fact that they were able to do that crowd play with Super Bomberman, because Super Bomberman's completely free. You don't have to be a pro member. And so they were like, hey, let's get 64 people in here to join us using crowd play. And all you have to have is a Gmail account. And that really does help. There's no purchase needed to happen. And I think that was really awesome. And it was fun to watch. I will say that some people who were in chat were kind of jerks to the hosts, like saying this is boring. Well, if you're so bored, then go watch something else. Like,
exactly.
I thought it was fine. I didn't watch the whole thing because I just didn't have time. It was at work. I was at work when it was happening, and so when I got home from work, I kind of scrubbed through the video real quick to see what happened in the video. I messaged, I think I messaged you at that point and said, was there anything huge that I, excuse me, that I would have missed? And you're like, no, it was just about the 4 games, the games that they were playing, and then the games that they were showing off. So in this event, they played Outcasters. They did an interview, I'd say interview, that was very polished and pre-prepared stuff, it felt like. But Immortals Phoenix Rising, they did an interview for that. They played Super Bomberman, which it wasn't that was when they announced that it was free, right?
We'd already known it was free, but I think that's when they were starting talking about it on the stream. Yeah.
That's right. So they played Super Bomberman for free. Then they also announced Submerged Hidden Depth as a pro game, Journey to the Savage Planet as a pro game, and they also announced that there are a whole bunch of new streamers that they are going to be partnering with. Stadia Games, or Stadia is going to be partnering with in order to showcase games on the platform. We got a bunch of people asking, how come Bill and Lloyd aren't doing this stuff? The reason is because Stadia, like, their whole goal right now is to try and broaden the market. The people who watch us are sold on Stadia. They're all they're already all in. They're like, yes, we like Stadia. You don't need to be convinced. These other streamers who are huge streamers, and Lloyd and I are tiny, tiny little streamers. These streamers are huge with big audiences that have yet to be exposed to Stadia for any length of time. And because of that, that's the people that Google is going to want to partner with in order to make a bigger impact on growing the player base for the platform. What do you think about that, Lloyd?
100%. Yeah. Right after the event's like, how come you guys aren't there? I got a tweet, and my response was, because we do a video and we get hundreds of people watching. There'll be 300 people watching us do a stream or whatever. But of those 300, 98, so 290 people that are there already have Stadia or know of Stadia. What they're doing now is they're getting Stadia in front of millions of potential gamers, or at least hundreds of thousands of potential gamers, saying, hey, this is Stadia, this is fun, you want to play Bomberman with me? You can get an account and play it right now. No money, no anything. That is what Stadia needs to do to grow the platform and grow the brand. So yeah, they should be doing that. And of course, we're not upset that they're not including streamers, because or Stadia streamers, because they've already supported us a lot. We're already doing things with Stadia, spreading the gospel of Stadia out there. But we really want Google to get Stadia in front of people that haven't heard about it before, or even better, people that heard about it being a joke, and then they're watching their favorite streamer have fun with it, and it's like, oh, so the joke that I read on Reddit is no longer accurate. Now my favorite streamer likes it. Okay, I like it too, and that is how you're gonna. That's how you're going to grow the platform, and it's a really smart move on Google's part.
All right, let's talk about Journey to the Savage Planet. That is a pro game. Submerged. Well, we'll forget about Submerged for now. Journey to the Savage Planet is a game that is published by Stadia Games and Entertainment. So far, every single Stadia Games and Entertainment game has been published, or has been a pro game. Do you think that that's going to happen going forward? I think it is.
100%. I think they saw what Microsoft has done with Game Pass, and they're like, that is how we grow a large number of people that are giving us $10 a month, and that gives us monthly money that we can then invest in other video game development, or buying licensing to 6 months of Pro for GameX. Very, very smart way for them to do it. Journey to the Savage Planet came out on consoles like 2 weeks after the development team, or I guess, is it the publisher? No, I think it was just the development, the company that developed it, announced that they were bought by Google. So this is a long time coming. We had some inkling that we would get Journey to the Savage Planet on Stadia eventually, because the company is now owned by Google. The fact that this is going to be an updated version with extra content is a very good thing, and hopefully that will encourage people to come play it on Stadia if they've already played it on other platforms.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be the norm going forward. Every single game that is published by Stadia Games and Entertainment is going to be free for Stadia Pro users. That is 100% the right move. It's going to pull people into that, especially if those games are really, really awesome. But you can still buy those games if you don't want to be a subscriber. Now, you've played Journey to the Savage Planet on your Switch, right? Tell me about this game, because it looks really compelling, but I didn't play it because when it got announced, well, not when it got announced, right before it came out, that purchase was made, and I said, well, I'm definitely not going to buy it now because it's going to come to Stadia, and that's where I would prefer to play it. This is my platform of choice. So what do you think about this particular game?
I really like it. It's you basically crash land on an alien planet to go get a bunch of stuff. You work for a corporation, and it's super like zany, over the top kind of I don't know, setting where all the corporations, it's like, oh, well, you bought your product from always blows up at the worst points corporation. That's the problem. Like that isn't a joke in the game, but it's that kind of humor. And you're basically going through trying to catalog all the animals, all the flora and fauna, kind of like a No Man's Sky, where you're basically scanning enemies and plants and trees and things like that. But what you're trying to do is get enough core components to repair your ship so you can leave. It's a really, really fun game with some really weird weapons and things. So I can't wait to play this again, because I didn't complete it on Switch. So this will be the platform that I probably finish it on. Is on Stadia.
Have you had a chance to play Submerged yet? I did not.
No, I haven't had a few minutes. It looks really cool. Like this is right up my alley as far as video games go. But man, there's too much to play right now, and I don't have enough time to do it, unfortunately.
There absolutely is too much to play. So maybe next week we'll be able to talk about Submerged, but we're getting to the point where we get so many games on Google Stadia that we can't talk about them all. And it's really tough to be able to talk about every single game on Stadia. All right. Yep. Speaking of seeing games on Stadia, some people are now getting a new layout on their home on the web for Google Stadia. We had one of our Discord members, Pat Johnson. He sent me a message. He's like, Bill, have you seen this? And I looked at it, and I was like, well, that looks very different. And he and I were, we hopped into voice chat, and we were talking while I was playing Outcasters, because I can't stop playing that game. And he sent me some screenshots so that I could see what he was seeing. Now, he has an account and his daughter has an account. His account looks like mine. His daughter's account looks different. They basically have updated the UI for the store, not the store, for the homepage. So the first thing that you see on the left, you'll see the big full screen art of the game that you last played. And on the right, it looks like they've got some tips and tricks about Google Stadia. So they've got controller info, news and updates, which I think is very good. That news and updates thing is a very good thing. And then
100%.
connection tips, probably something in there to like check your network connection or something like that. And then if you push like the down button and you look at the games, instead of being in rows of 2 or columns of 2, which is ridiculous, they now have 3. So 50% more columns than we had before, which is great.
For free.
Yeah, it didn't
have
cost
to pay
you anything
for that extra columns. It's great. That's power of the cloud.
So I loaded mine up, and instantly after seeing this, I loaded mine up, and I was like, well, maybe he's just like on a higher resolution. So I reduced my, like right now I'm on a 4K monitor, and I changed it so it was real 4K instead of like 125% that Windows does. And so I put it in real 4K, and then I opened up my browser, and I put it full screen, and it was still 2 icons wide. So that's definitely not it. It seems like some people are getting this. Google does this A/B testing kind of thing. What do you think about this, Lloyd?
I like it. I like the first image that you showed off. The fact that it has like the last game you played is there, and then some other information points. They could put like new demos, new free games. Google, I'm gonna throw this out there. If you want to put Stadiacast up in one of those icons, we'd be super happy with that. you feel free to do that if you want. They're not going to do that. No. But I really like this. The one thing that I noticed with the first screenshot and the second screenshot is there's no list of the number of friends that you have online. I've seen a lot of slowdown lately where if I go to stadia.google.com and then I switch to another tab for a minute and then I come back, the tab is completely unusable. And I think it has I think part of it has to do with the number of friends that I have. Like I have 600 Stadia friends or some crazy number. When I go to start a game, if I bring up the UI, it's sluggish at times, and then Stadia makes an update, and then it gets better, but then it gets worse. I don't know if they're undoing the updates or having to change other things. So removing that from the main page might give some stability to the UI, which I think is sorely needed right now for people that have more than just a handful of friends on Google Stadia.
Yeah, I made a tweet. I was like, I'm kicking people off my friends list on Stadia. It's too much of a pain. And kicking people off of my friends list on Stadia is too much of a pain. Like just going in, it's like 7 clicks to remove somebody from my friends list. So I may jump back in and do some more of that. If like we're friends on Stadia and suddenly we're not, please don't take it personal. It's because I don't recognize your name, and I'm like, I've got, when I log in, I generally have about 300 people in my friends list that are online now. That are online now. That's not counting the people that are offline, and it's just making the UI incredibly clunky and slow. And but just to make sure that I'm 100% clear on this, that is not talking about my experience with playing the games. The games are not clunky and slow in the least bit. Not even a little. All right.
Yeah.
Everspace 2, speaking of tweets, Everspace 2 said they tweeted this out, which I think that this is good. You played that game. No, you played Everspace, but Everspace 2 is just the same company. They're talking about Everspace 1. You want to tell everybody about this tweet, Lloyd?
Yeah, so I talked about this when I did my first look. Prior to or right around the same time of the game dropping on Stadia, they talked about the fact that they had tried to get 4K 60 and they ran into some problems. So they shipped the game on Stadia at 1080p, but they are working on a 4K patch that they're going to patch for free on Google Stadia. So Everspace 2 is still in development. That's not out yet, but they want to make Everspace 1 play the best that it possibly can on. So we will be getting 4K support in they call it imminent, or actually keep this channel open for further intel about imminent 4K support. So could be the news is imminent or the 4K support is imminent, but hopefully we'll be getting 4K support soon. Everspace is fun. It's a really fun roguelike, and be able to play it in 4K on my beautiful 4K monitor in front of me. I'm really looking forward to that.
I still haven't loaded it up. It definitely looks like a kind of game that I would love. I've always been a fan of space sims. Sims is arcadey space sims is what I really prefer. Games like TIE Fighter, X-Wing back in the day, back in the 90s. Those I feel like are the pinnacle of the genre. And how would you say that Everspace compares to those games?
Everspace is a bit of a different beast. So each map is randomly generated. Each collection of nodes on that map is randomly generated each time you play, and each of them can be different things. So there could be a crashed freighter, there could be an enemy base, there could be just intel to find, or just things to harvest. So it can be very slow, but then you can also take on you could be attacked by 20 people at once and just like melt away your shields. So it's very much a game of a lot of failure until you get to the end, when you when you have enough powered up items and components in your ship to go deep and beat the game. So it's a lot of fun. I do think you would enjoy it, because I know you do like roguelites, and this is very much that. There's not a lot of punishment to death in this one. You keep all your gold, and then you spend that gold between missions, and you keep your remainder. So it's not like a lot of them where your gold disappears when you die, or after you spend it, or you have one chance to spend it, and stuff that you don't spend is lost. It's not that punishing.
So you mentioned something earlier about how many games that you've gotten with Pro. Now, right before we went live, one of our community members sent this to our Discord, there's a link in the description down below so you can check out our Discord. This is really cool. It's called the Stadia Pro Game Monitor. Have you seen this yet, Lloyd?
I only saw it on mobile and it didn't work so well. I haven't loaded it up on desktop yet. I need to do that.
So basically what happens is you hit this button and you say, how long have which months have I been subscribed to Stadia for? And so I've been subscribed for all of the months. And then it tells me all of these charts and graphs about how long, like what games did I get, how much did I pay in subscription fees, what is the value per net gain there. This is in I think that's euros, and like I don't know what total benefit factor means, but I love, like I said, I just saw this right before we went live, so I had to add it into the show notes. It has this spreadsheet that a lot of us have been familiar with, showing off all of the pro games. But you were like, how many games do we have so far? 60. We got 60 or 60 games that we've got for being Stadia Pro. Stadia Pro, I'm going to do a video about this, about the comparing Stadia Pro to Game Pass. And I have often said in the past, I feel like Game Pass is the best deal in games. Mm-hmm. And while I still stand behind that, that's only in a short term. In the long term, it's clear that Stadia Pro is a better bang for your buck over a long period of time. Over a short period of time, I feel like Xbox is better, or not Xbox, Game Pass is better. But over a long period of time, I feel like Stadia is incredibly a fantastic value proposition.
Yeah, 100%. Stadia Pro is a different beast than Game Pass, and they're both really good values. I do think Game Pass is just a ridiculous value. Like everyone that plays video games should have a Game Pass Ultimate sub. But it's getting there for Stadia Pro now. Like you sign up for a Stadia Pro account for the first time, and it looks like there's 33 games that you can claim right now. So you sign up, you pay $10. Here's 33 games, sir. Thank you for your $10. It's a little bit ridiculous, and it's not just like throwaway games either. Like it's some big names like Sniper Elite, Risk of Rain, Super Bomberman, Metro Last Light. Or wait, that one's not pro anymore. But there's just Orcs Must Die, of course, SteamWorld games. There's some really amazing games that are available, and you get 30. You sign up for $10 and you get 30 added to your library that you get to keep for whenever you have an active subscription. It's not like they go away when you cancel your pro and then come back later. It's a really good value. And yeah, I loaded up this visualization, which is a hard word in the morning before too much coffee, and it just looks beautiful. It would be nice if you could mark off, well, first it would be nice if it was in like US or Canadian dollars as well, if there was some more data there, but it would be nice if you could actually put the number of months that you've paid for, because I've subscribed ever since day one, but I think I got like 5 months for free because of 3 months at launch, or actually no, I've gotten more. I've gotten like 8 months free because I also bought a Chromebook and got the 3 months there, plus the 2 at COVID time, and then the 3 to start things off. So I've paid almost nothing for Stadia Pro, and I have 60 plus games in my library. It's ridiculous.
Right. And do you think, can they possibly maintain this pace of 5-6 games a month?
Well, we have 8 now.
Right. Oh my God.
This
is the best month so far. Eight games this month.
It's crazy. I think 6 seems to be the way. That's how it's been for the last 4 months. Since September, we've had 6 games. So I don't know. Maybe they're shooting for 5-6 games a month just to keep people subscribed, and then they're gonna come out with their city games and entertainment games being dropped on it every once in a while when there's something new to come out there. They announced that they have a new partnership with what is it, Thunder Lotus? Is that
Thunder Lotus? They already have a lot of games on the platform.
Exactly. So if we're going to be getting more games and smaller indie-sized games, it means they're going to have a steady library of games that are just going to be coming out in the coming months and years, which is a really good thing.
Anything you want to hit before we get to the crowd play section of the stream show?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Let's go to crowd play.
All right. We had a whole bunch of people send in super chats to get our attention. Want to say thank you to each and every one of you for doing that. We really do appreciate the support. Cloud Gamer 201 became a member. Dave Winall sent in a super chat. He said, "Hey, fellas." Sukotronic sent in their usual super chat. Ray Sherrod sent in a super chat with no comment. Anthony Talcott said, "Shout out to Lloyd for the awesome Nerd Nest logo. Is there a way to play in windowed mode on Stadia? I only have one monitor. Also, Google, put your free games at the top of the list in the store." So first off, yeah, do that, please. But secondly, playing in a window, I think you have to have like an extension for that, right?
Yeah, the Stadia Plus extension allows you to go into windowed mode at any time. It's super buggy though. If you're regularly switching between that window and other windows, eventually it loses track of where your mouse is. So even though your mouse is active in that window, it has that stupid thing in the middle saying click in this window to regain control of your mouse or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting. Interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, Stadia Plus is definitely a good way to get a windowed mode if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Ruben DeGeeling sent in Bill's Christmas Light Fund. Nerd Nest is awesome. Thank you very much. Ruben also said Lloyd and Bill are 6 cups of fun out of 5. I like that he clarified.
I told the story about how we were talking about reviews in the past, and this was on Cloudburst, another show that I'm on every Saturday at noon Central over on Stadia Rock's channel.
That's 1 p.m. for people in the right time zone.
But we were talking about subjective game reviews and how people don't understand that your opinions are always subjective when you're reviewing a game. Because you can't say that this game has 5 cups of fun and 3 pinches of graphics and it blew up and that's all the chat room was talking about. So that's where we got the 5 cups of fun.
There you go. Robot Wizard sent in a super chat. They said, any speculation on more Rockstar games coming to Stadia or ever seeing Activision giving us any games? So I'll let you tackle Rockstar because I don't know anything about them.
Rockstar really has 2 games right now, GTA and Red Dead 2. I would love to get GTA on Stadia. I loaded it up on my Xbox Series X, and for a game that is as old as it looks fantastic running on new hardware. So I'd for sure love to play GTA and GTA Online on Google Stadia, but no news on that at all.
I feel like I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I remember something about an upgrade to Red Dead. Oh, yeah, they recently
Red Dead.
What's that?
They're splitting Red Dead 2 where
No, this is different.
Okay.
They updated Red Dead, so now you have the option to switch it to 1080p 60 or 4K 30 in the game without having to do anything outside of the game. You just go into the game and make the change, which, God, every single game needs to do that.
Definitely. I love that. I think Avengers was the first one that I really messed around with that, and it was fantastic to be able to switch between 4K 30 or 1080p 60. Yeah, having that come out to Red Dead would be great as well. Rockstar also recently announced that they're coming out with Red Dead Online as a separate free-to-play app. So you don't need to buy the main game to play Red Dead Online. So I think they're going to do the same thing with GTA, and I would be shocked if that didn't come to Stadia. Just at least GTA Online, if they don't bring the whole game over.
GTA and it's like the Skyrim of Rockstar. Like they put it on everything. So I do anticipate that will come. As far as seeing Activision sending games to Stadia, I think we will. I have zero evidence that suggests that, but I do think that eventually all publishers will just publish their games on Stadia as well.
Yep.
As the audience continues to grow. I am confident in saying that. Paul Connor, don't try and advertise on my channel, man. That's not cool. Pat Johnson says, thanks for the shout out, Bill. No problem, Pat. Thank you very much for the heads up. Consino says, I'm curious what you all think about the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 and what it means for Stadia with performance/capacity of Stadia users. I'm trying to follow the sentence. Stadia users with all of the premier giveaways before the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. What do you think? What? I'm struggling with the sentence structure.
I think Consino's asking us, do we think that we're going to get a upgraded version of Cyberpunk when it comes out on Stadia? Plus, is there going to be any issue with the fact that they're giving away all the old premiere editions on the new one? And no, that's the beauty of the cloud. As long as you can receive a YouTube stream, it doesn't matter what hardware you're running it on, really. With some codec issues, of course. I think getting Premiere editions out there for many more people is great. Consino says more capacity related. I think the fact that they have so many free games, well, 2 free games where you don't even need to pay for them, I think that has really shown us that Google isn't anticipating any capacity issues. They must have like millions of blades out there waiting for games to be played on them. So I'm not so super worried about that. But yeah, I think getting more Premiere editions out there is great. And the fact that that Cyberpunk is the first time where you buy a game and you get the console for free instead of the other way around.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be really, really huge for Google Stadia.
Oh, I absolutely agree. It's such an amazing deal. Look, there are some times when Lloyd and I get review copies for games, and both of us pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077 on Stadia because that deal is so good, even though it comes with a white controller, and I already have now 3 white controllers in my house.
Yeah,
I couldn't say no.
I want like 3 more Chromecasts so I can have them on all my TVs. I have one in the house right now, plus the new what is it? Not Veronica. I can't remember what the code name for the new Chromecast with Google
I don't know.
TV
Just
is.
call it Google TV. That's because
Google
they're
TV.
rebranding it. They're not calling it Chromecast. It's just Google TV.
Exactly. So I'll have that eventually once Stadia is officially supported on it. So I think having one more Chromecast from buying Cyberpunk will satisfy me for the next little bit. But yeah, this is going to be huge, and the fact that it's happening with one of the most anticipated, if not the most anticipated game of 2020, is going to be huge for Stadia.
Absolutely. Cedric Crenshaw sent in a super chat. They said, fine, or no, not finally. They said, personally, those words don't look anything alike. I don't know what happened. Personally, I think Stadia Pro is more comparable to PS Plus. Amazon Luna model is closer to Game Pass. And I totally get what you're saying. Stadia Pro gives you discounts and free games, which is what PS Plus does. PS Plus also lets you play online. Stadia, anybody can play online. You don't have to subscribe for that. I totally get what you're saying. And yes, Amazon Luna has like a subscription model where games rotate in and out. That's the reason why I'm less interested in Amazon Luna, because I can't just buy a game if I want. I have to subscribe in order to do it. Now, with Game Pass, am I subscribed to Game Pass? Yes, I am. I am subscribed to Game Pass. But I still would prefer if Game Pass was more like Stadia, where my library was slowly getting bigger and bigger over time, instead of having access to, let's say, 100 games, but those games suddenly sometimes disappear. And I know there's going to be people who are going to be playing devil's advocate, which I do all the time. And they're going to say, well, but Bill, you can then buy those games at a huge discount. You're right. But I don't want the rug to be pulled out from under me. That always bugs me when that happens. So like when my wife was she was rewatching Battlestar Galactica, which is a fantastic show. If you've never watched, not the original version from like the 70s and 80s, but like the newer one that came out, I don't know, like 15 years ago or so. I can't believe it's been that long. She was watching that on some service, and I don't remember what service it was. And then it got taken away from that service. And we were like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll buy it so you can finish it. And we looked online, and to buy the whole series, it was like $300 or something crazy like that. So we were like, okay, well, we already know how it ends, so I guess we're just done watching it. I just can't stand that kind of thing. And so that's why I think Stadia is better. You have thoughts on this, Lloyd, on what Cedric said?
I think, well, more to what you said, I think Luna is going to be a nice little filler. It's going to be like a library filler. It's going to be like the appetizers you eat between major game releases on Stadia and other platforms. I think both merit interest, but I do prefer buying my games and then having free ones come with my service. Stadia is very much like PlayStation Pro or Xbox Live Gold, where you get X number of games a month just for having a subscription, and you get various bonuses for having that subscription. But it's not the games included with the subscription. It's weird because Microsoft has 2 subscriptions, and really one. If you have the top subscription, you get all the other ones included. So yeah, it's a bit more of a confusing analogy there.
It is. And I will also be the first to say, well, probably not the first to say, but I will be a person to say that there are a lot of people who do not agree with Lloyd and I on this. They don't prefer to buy their games. They prefer the subscription method. And it's perfectly valid. Like, we don't all have to agree all the time. It's perfectly valid for people to say, well, I prefer the subscription method because it's better for my use case. I don't know if you heard, but at the beginning of the show, Lloyd and I listed off the games that we've played and have not come anywhere close to beating. So it takes us a long time to get through games usually.
Yeah, working full time and then having family takes a lot of my gameplay, but that's why I'm up to like 2 a.m. on days when I should be in bed by 8. So yeah, you do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah. Bernard Baker sent in a super chat. They said, I noticed some streamers having challenges with crowd play for Super Bomberman. From what you've seen, what do you think happens Why do you think this happens, and how to improve? And for the people in chat that are saying Bill needs glasses, Bill knows he needs glasses. I ordered some, and they're not here yet. So leave me alone, you meanies. I don't know what issues people are having. It seemed to work perfectly well with Super Bomberman on the event that they had on Thursday. I had an issue where I thought I had crowd play, and I didn't because I didn't watch the stream closely enough, and I thought that they were saying crowd play is now available for everybody as part of Outcasters. So maybe that's what you're seeing. I'm not sure. What do you think, Lloyd?
I know that a lot of times the little panes that pop up in the UI when you're trying to get people to join your game or to do crowd choice don't always load, and you actually have to reload the stream.
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is beta. I'm sure this will change, but for right now, it's a little bit buggy. So that's probably where a good chunk of the frustration comes from. And games also have to have better UI for the streamer, because people can join your Super Bomberman game and never go ready, and then they just sit there. You can't start a game until they either you boot them manually or they ready up. So it'd be nice if you could just force everybody to go ready as the streamer, because you don't want to wait for 63 other people to stop messing around with you. You want to just be able to start the game. If people are not ready, well, then they shouldn't have joined your queue, type thing.
Yeah,
I think having features like that would be a good thing.
I think it would also be nice. Like, it would be good. You could just hit start game, and it starts a countdown. And when it hits 0, anybody who hasn't readied up gets booted automatically, and then the game starts. I think that would be a very easy solution. Hopefully, Konami does something like that.
Hopefully.
Selena Hadfield sent in a super chat. You guys are crazy. Thank you very much. They said, Merry Christmas. Thanks for providing weekly entertainment for the gamers, my husband included. Well, Selena, hello to you and Mr. Hadfield. We appreciate you guys watching, and thank you very much for the support.
Hopefully her husband is Chris Hadfield, and then we can talk about space with him. I know it's spelled differently.
Chris Hadfield. Oh, the astronaut
Canadian
from
astronaut.
Canada. The
right.
guitarist.
Right.
He plays guitar, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be great. Selena, everybody that is super chatting, you all are just ridiculous, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, we really do. Even the people who try to use it to advertise their videos.
Right.
Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. That's it for episode 88 of Stadiacast. If you want to watch the show live, we are at nerdnest.tv. If you want to follow... by the way, if you want every single... Lloyd set up an if this, then that little routine that anytime that any video gets added to our YouTube channel, it automatically gets tweeted out by our little Twitter robot, which we're never going to tweet from. It's just, we're not going to respond to people. It's just there to let people know about new stuff. So if, YouTube doesn't always send notifications and you want those, Nerdnest TV on Twitter is where you can go to get that. If you want Stadia news, Stadiacast is a Twitter account. I'm at Run Jump Stomp. Lloyd is at Dasme. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Take it easy, everybody.
There we go. We did it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So people that are we're still live, right?
Yes, sir.
Post show. So yeah, we're getting
short post show because
exactly.
I'm going to do a stream and it was supposed to start 2 minutes ago.
Okay, so yeah, Nintendo Switchcraft, Nintendo Pulse, Stadiacast, and YouTube videos will all come out on that Twitter account. We don't want to say we're never going to tweet from it because that probably will change in the future. But as it is right now, it's a good place to see all of our content, whether it's video or not. Because Nintendo Pulse, we don't have videos for that show, but you can find out more about it and go listen to it on whatever podcatcher you want.
Yeah. All right. If you guys look in the description down below, you will see a link to an Outcasters stream. I'm going to be streaming Outcasters in like 5 minutes. Just give me time to get everything set up. And hopefully I'll see you guys over there.
Definitely. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Go play with Bill. Go shoot him.
Well, no.
Have fun with that.
Don't shoot me.
Shoot around him, but curve your bullet towards him.
Later, man.
Later.